Yay! Hi everyone! Welcome to Nerd Alert! Woo-woo. I don't know what that turned into. My name is Amy, and I'm joined by Missy and Jazz. Hey, ladies!
Hello.
Hey, so Nerd Alert is where we nerd about all things worth nerding out about. That's kind of hard to say, but at the end of the day, we're just geeking out together, in this time that we all are able to connect with each other through social media and through these lovely screens. So yeah, ladies, if you want to kind of introduce yourselves.
Okay, hi, I'm
Yes.
Jasmine. I'm a social team member, and I'm also one of the moderators in the Let Your Geek Sideshow group.
And I'm Missy. I'm also one of the moderators in the Let Your Geek Sideshow group, and I am a full-fledged Iron Man nerd. So it's fitting today.
So of course we will be talking about Iron Man. Yeah, we've got Tony right behind us. Look at him. There, pretty much everywhere. So we are going to be giving away that little guy right there. The Iron Man, the Iron Man Mark 43 6-scale figure by Hot Toys. So Jazz will be dropping a Gleam link for this giveaway towards the end of the show. So you guys make sure that you're watching out for that. We will also be giving away a secret code for that will give you 1,000 entries in that Gleam contest. So you pretty much just want to be watching the whole time because we'll drop it and then you'll be able to use it. It does end tonight. The contest does end tonight at midnight. So for those of you guys that don't know everywhere you can watch us, we're pretty much everywhere right now. So we're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and there's a lot of different things that we're doing. For example, on Facebook, in the Facebook group, Let Your Geek Side Show, we are doing this unextraordinary unboxing giveaway where you can unbox an everyday item, which is so cool, like Kleenex or something, and you can enter to win the Iron Man Mark 7 6-scale by Hot Toys. So we're also going live pretty much every day at 4 p.m. PST. That's 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
I'm getting very familiar with these time zones because we're all trying to communicate with each other. So it's like, okay, man. So yes, and you guys can also just check us out on our socials at Sideshow Collectibles on Instagram, at Collect Sideshow on Twitter to see the schedule of shows. There's a lot going on. There's also one like Terry Smith's doing. It's the Sideshow Poser Challenges. Those are on the social channels, which again, follow us, subscribe, like us, follow us, do all that. Okay, so let's all be friends together. Let's just talk about Iron Man / Tony Stark. Let's get into it. So yes, who wants to start? Okay, let's start off with the first time that you realized that you love Tony / Iron Man.
2008. Since we're sticking to MCU in this talk, at least for the time being, sat in that movie theater and went, yes, I can do this, and I hope that they keep going. And then they did keep going until they didn't. Until they didn't. But there's so much goodness that I don't know where to even begin.
What about you, Jazz?
Well, I'm not actually sure if I saw Iron Man in theaters, but my uncle takes me and my sister to every premiere of every Marvel movie. And I know he showed it to me at some point, so that must have been it. Basically, if my uncle introduced me to it, I love it because it's like a family tradition to go to the movies together and see these. So he raised me on comics, he raised me on a lot of geeky things, and whenever he introduced me to Iron Man, whenever that was, that's when I decided I loved him.
Tony Stark. That's more awesome.
For me, it's funny because it was US history, and I think we just had a free day. I don't know, I guess we had a test coming up and we had already studied, whatever. And the movie had just come out. Well, actually, no. Well, whatever. It was out on DVD, and our teacher just put it on in class.
Yes.
I wasn't that familiar with the MCU, and I was like, wait, what? What's this? And I still like to this day, I'm like, wow, what a cool teacher, to put that on. If I was ever going to be a teacher, I would most definitely have the kids watch all of the MCU movies, like
As
priorities.
a teacher, I support that. And I would show the trailers of what was coming up. So basically, when the Endgame trailer? No, Infinity War trailer came out, all my 7th grade boys were like, hey, are we going to watch this in class? And I was like, shh, of course we are. So we did. And it was great. Every period got to come in and watch the Infinity War trailer. So yeah, good times.
Wait, that's awesome. What do you
so
teach?
Cool.
English. So yeah, it was, and my whole room was Avenger themed. It was fantastic. So.
Oh my gosh. See, priorities. I think that's important. And
Yes.
if you think about it, these movies really teach us a lot about English, communicating with each other, especially Civil War, like how to communicate efficiently. There's history, of course.
Yeah.
Science, hello, duh.
We might not be there yet, but most definitely.
Yeah, I feel like that's important. Wow, who would have thought? Look, why do you guys think people are so drawn to Iron Man and Tony Stark?
I think attitude's a huge part of it, of course. I mean, there's charming, there's swagger, and then, if you decide you want to peel away the layers, because I have a lot of Cap friends, so I have to defend myself often. You have to pull out that, well, yes, there is some arrogance there, but then some of it's definitely put on. There's definitely insecurities there. You can see little nuances, and they grow as each movie goes. And I made it a point today to watch 2 that people don't care for on a general basis, just in case I needed to bring things up. So like that was Iron Man 3, where you're dealing with Tony having PTSD like a normal human being because he doesn't have superpowers. And Age of Ultron, because, well, that's our figure for today. And because people generally hate that movie and then bring up the whole everything in the MCU was Tony Stark's fault argument. So, there's that.
There's a special place in my heart for Iron Man 2 because that's when we first saw Natasha. Like, I love it for Tony too, and I like the trilogy of the Iron Man movies, but we got Black Widow. I saw that and I was just, I was like pointing at the screen, like, there she is. And that's so cool. Like her interaction with Tony and their chemistry. It's fantastic.
And I thought her being introduced in with him was absolutely perfect because she went head to head with him and didn't take any of his crap, which was fantastic.
I also love how Tony's evolved so much. I would say he's the most evolved out of all of them. And I don't know, that's like crazy to see, especially from the very first Iron Man movie to Endgame. I don't know about guys. I have only seen Endgame once because my heart cannot take it. I cannot watch it again. Like, ow. It's been almost a year. A year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A month. Next week.
Wow.
Yeah. I haven't watched it since the theater, but I might have gone 4 times and cried every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
There's something. Oh.
Alfonso Padron says in Facebook that he likes Tony Stark's will to never give up, and I think that ties into Endgame really well.
There's a certain sense of like, even if it's, what started out as cockiness kind of became that, and it was like, no, like we have to do this, we have to figure this out. There's no like, well, we tried. Oh well. Yeah. I think that's important in life, not just the MCU, but in life. Now I have a very tricky question for everyone watching. If we were to have a new Iron Man somewhere down the line, who would you want? Would you like the fact that we wouldn't have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man? Like, who would you want? Would you be open to having a different version of Iron Man or not?
I guess I'd really like to see Ironheart, or like kind of the continuation that they did in the comics with Riri Williams instead of another Tony Stark. Because to have another Tony Stark just would have to reboot the entire MCU.
Yeah, no.
Right? So then, like how Riri was his protege in the comics, I would love to see that. Because I think the MCU moving into a phase with kind of the young Avengers type stuff and the proteges of the older heroes would be cool. But right now we also have like how the OG6 are kind of done with their story. The MCU, Doctor Strange is taking over that role a little bit. So
yeah,
big shoes to fill.
Well, there are so many characters that I'd rather not reboot a character that already had a fantastic story arc and move on. I see a bunch of people in Facebook saying that, you know, have Morgan take up the mantle, which if you wait long enough, then that could actually be really cool. I wouldn't want to see Harley in there. I know that already. It just, I wouldn't. I'd rather see Riri over Harley, just because it would be so one-off to me. But I'd rather see brand new characters that haven't had their time to shine yet. I mean, how many characters are there in the comic universe? In Marvel, there's
525,600. I don't know.
Minutes.
Glad you got it.
There are just so many, and I don't know. I'd rather Morgan as a new rescue would be cool. Yeah. Some version of a young hero would be cool, but for right now, I love that whatever's going to happen, like with Doctor Strange's universe, I don't know, I'm pretty excited about all of that.
Yeah, I mean, even it's crazy to think about 5 years from now, but even 50 years from now, however movies will be consumed, media will be consumed, I think at least in our generation, and obviously like kids younger than us that grew up watching these movies in this MCU right now, I think Robert Downey Jr. will always be Tony Stark. And to think that anyone would ever be him is strange. Like, no. But I mean, think about like, you know, other properties. There's been multiple versions of really big characters, you know?
Yeah.
But it's just like that Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, will forever be Tony Stark. But yeah, now as far as Jarvis goes, if you could have Jarvis do something for you, what would you get Jarvis to do?
Any math I would ever need at any point ever.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't need to be anything like extraordinary. No, just do my math for me, Jarvis, and we will be cool.
That's I write a lot. I write for our blog. And I am trying to write a book, and I keep thesaurus.com open whenever. So I would just want Jarvis to be available so I could scream, "What's another word for this?" and Jarvis would pop in.
He'd also be the ultimate proofreader.
Yes.
You don't depend on like way a long time ago, the little paperclip dude down in the corner. No, Jarvis would be amazing as a proofreader. That's awesome. Yeah. He controls my thermostat just because I named it Jarvis. So I like to pretend.
I love that. That's so cool. I honestly don't know. I kind of just want to hang out with Jarvis. Be like,
I miss him.
Yeah. Yeah, and just be like, how are you doing? You know,
like
here.
Vision was cool, and Friday's awesome, but there was something very comforting about Jarvis's voice just coming through like the HUD and everything, and when it went away.
Yeah. Maybe even like reading a book. Because can you imagine like an audiobook with Jarvis's voice?
Ooh.
That'd be amazing.
Nice.
I would like that.
Yeah.
I think that would be very therapeutic. Yeah. Now, for you guys just tuning in, hi, this is Nerd Alert. We're basically nerding out about anything that we love. Today, it's Iron Man. Whoop, my hands disappeared. That's how exciting this is. Whoa! So you can watch us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. So feel free to join us in the chat right now. Jazz and Missy are there hanging out. So yeah, there's something also that I love about Iron Man, and it's his nicknames for other Avengers. Here are just a few of my favorites. Capsicle, Captain America,
Yes.
Manchurian Candidate for Bucky.
Yes.
Legolas for Hawkeye. Build-A-Bear is probably one of my favorites for Rocket.
I
But this
actually
one,
forgot about that because I refused to watch Endgame again.
see, yeah. This one just hits right in the feels. Underoos.
Yes.
Oh,
Rock of Ages. Loki. I miss Loki.
Yeah, well, at least he gets to come back.
Yeah,
That's pretty exciting.
that's true. Squidward, Ebony Maw. That one had me laughing in the theater. Flash Gordon, Peter Quill, Lebowski, Thor,
Yeah.
especially in Endgame.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, wow. There's so many, and now that we're thinking of everything that Iron Man has said, think of his one-liners. Like, are there certain quotes that he said that you're like, yeah, that one's mine? Because I mean, I always love Iron Man. That, and then bam, start the music.
Yeah.
Just
yeah. I don't think
There's-
that's anything more iconic than just him going up to that press conference and everybody's like, okay, we've got to smooth this over. And he's just like, the truth is, I am Iron Man. I was like, what? Like,
I'm also partial to, and again, this is because I love Iron Man 3, which is something that not a lot of people say. I can't help thinking, where's my tuna sandwich? It's so stupid, but it's just he's rattling off all these technical things that he needs. Then he's back to, I'm hungry, kid. Come on, where's my sandwich? So it's just all the little things, and it's the little pieces of Robert's personality that come through into Tony that just made him such a fantastic character, especially since so much gets improvised that it just, I love it. It's a whole nother layer. It's a whole nother dimension. It's a whole nother reason that I love the character so much.
there was also that one that I guess it was the first time that I really felt like I fell in love with the MCU, and that was the Avengers. And there's that one moment where he's like, that man's playing Galaga.
yeah.
So I was like, what?
Yeah.
First of all, what's Galaga? I didn't know at the time. It's a brand new baby nerd. So yeah, I love those silly ones, but then also those that just like sometimes I guess moving into Tony Stark's moments where he doesn't have to say anything and you just feel it, you see it in his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, between Infinity War and Endgame, there's like millions of moments. When Peter comes back and the way that he looks at him.
Yeah, I think I might have cried harder then than when when the end came, because I had been waiting for that, little reuniting moment and wasn't quite prepared for the facial expressions because Tony's eyes say so much. Even there is the scene in Civil War where they're all sitting around the table and Ross is there and Tony's not at the table. He's like in the corner away from everybody because he knows that people are going to be mad at him. He knows that no one's going to want to sign these. I shouldn't say no one, but that some of them aren't going to want to sign the accords. And just the exasperation and the worry on his face, like there was nothing written there, and there didn't need to be. And your attention was still, if you're a Tony fan, if you're an Iron Man fan, your attention was drawn back there for those just little things. And when you go back and you rewatch, those little things add other layers, like him and Cap and the pens. There's just details, which
Speaking
I love
of
when characters have those.
Civil War, we have another favorite quote on Instagram from Heroes Bizarre Art, who says, "Why are there coffee grounds in the garbage disposal? Are we running a bread and breakfast for a biker gang?"
Yes, that is fantastic.
I love that. I mean, gosh, that fight sequence in Civil War is insane. So good.
Yes.
So good.
And it was just kind of hard to see them fighting. I don't know, like, I feel like sometimes, most days, I'm a hippie, like, minus a bunch of stuff that hippies did back in the day. But, like, I just believe in, like, peace and love, and it broke my heart to see our Avengers so split. But it was also like, well, this makes sense for everything going on. Yeah, but just to have them fight each other, I was like, no, fight other people. I love when you guys come together. especially me going back to the Avengers, like in 2012,
Mhm.
just to see all of them come together for the first time. And that sweeping shot, like going around. And
Yes.
like,
Oh, that perfect circle. Just
I just got chills.
Now, I just got them all over again, which is kind of fun because you don't get to talk about things for a while, and then your brain triggers, hey, remember when you were in that theater at midnight and everybody cheered? And
Yeah. Speaking of the Avengers,
stuff.
I would like to also say it's also Shakespeare's birthday today, so a fun
Oh.
Tony quote to go with that is, "Doth mother know you weareth her drapes?"
You know, that meeting there might be one of my favorite MCU moments, period.
Where he when he gets charged up by
Yes,
Mjolnir.
just all of it. They just all put their powers against one another, and then realize, well, crap, we can't fight each other. Nobody will win. Like, it was awesome.
You know, and thinking of Tony's interactions with everyone on the team, by far the biggest bromance, Bruce Banner and
Aw.
Tony. Oh my
Silence
god.
Rose.
I tell me, both of y'all, like, what were some of your favorite moments with them? What did you love? Just let's geek out.
When he's like
Oh.
poking
Nerd out.
him
Yes.
in the Avengers, and he's like trying to get him to Hulk out, and Bruce is like, "What are you doing?" Like,
Well, and some people didn't like that because they were like, oh, well, he's picking on him. I'm like, no, he's showing that he's not scared of him. And also he pulls out blueberries because, someone likes to hide snacks on set, but that whole moment there, but you're right, when he pokes, Jazz, that's one of like the best things. And it's like he's got that giddy little kid look on his face.
and I like that you can read it as either he's like trying to get him to Hulk out and he's just being like annoying Tony, but then also, like you said, like he's showing him he's not afraid because he needles at the other Avengers verbally and stuff too. So to like actually push Bruce to that, like where it could physically change him, but he's like, but I just want to bully you good naturedly like a friend would do. I think that's a really important moment for them.
Yeah.
So.
And Bruce keeps Tony in check later on. Like in Ultron, which I did watch today, Tony kind of starts prattling on and doing kind of, I'm going to call it more nervous laughter. And Bruce is just kind of giving him like, dude, stop, just no. And it's kind of great because Tony says, you're rolling over and showing your belly. And Bruce is just trying to keep the tension in the room down. So they balance each other out at different times, which is fun. And then he also calls him the strongest Avenger in Ragnarok. That's the password. So it's a great relationship.
It's also cool to see.
Oh, sorry. Someone mentioned, I can't find their name. Oh no, sorry. But if you said this, the you're embarrassing me in front of the wizards.
So great.
Yes.
It is so great.
I use that one. Like, I wouldn't say daily. So weekly, I use that one.
Nice.
Because why not?
Yeah, how do you throw that into conversations?
In a weird way, because it doesn't make sense. And if people haven't seen the movie, they're like,
that's even better then. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's pretty much like if someone says something, or if I say a joke. No. If like someone I know says a joke, then I'll turn to them and be like, "You're embarrassing me in front of the wizards." Something weird like that. I want to know, like, do any of y'all randomly throw in some Iron Man quotes in daily life or in Zoom life now? No, that's just me.
Think. Well,
No.
Missy quotes Iron Man on the daily for sure, but she's usually talking about Tony on the daily. So it's not.
No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. But it's okay.
I love that.
I mean, and of course I'm on the spot now. It comes all the time. So my students just refer to me as the Marvel teacher, and I've been called like Mrs. Stark by one student because every Friday we have like dress down, so I wear an Iron Man shirt or a sweatshirt or whatever. So I throw quotes at the kids or they throw them back at me, and it's a way of life, and it's a good way of life because it's fun.
Yeah, I wish I had you as my teacher. Yeah.
Me too. It'd be nice.
Wonderful. And it's great because, you can use your passion to get kid's passionate about other stuff. So
Yeah. And I feel,
fine.
especially with like the MCU and even, you know, just with characters, when you introduce someone to the MCU, like it's kind of hard for people to not fall in love with it.
Mhm.
And then it's like, well, here, welcome to this entire world of awesomeness. You're welcome. And then they just like fall in, and then that's it. That's how it goes.
That's Maxime Olio on YouTube says just every scene with Iron Man is priceless. He's the center of the MCU. So every scene.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys are just tuning in right now, you're watching Nerd Alert. I just wanted to end that in. Yeah, we basically just geek out, nerd out about all things worth nerding out about. So today, it's Iron Man. And we also are hitting about that time to drop a secret something.
Oh no, a secret?
A secret, yes. So the secret code. Are you ready for it?
I am.
It's Nick Fury. All caps, no spaces. So this is good for 1,000 entries. So we are giving away this Iron Man Mark 43 6-scale figure by Hot Toys. So this Gleam contest does end tonight at midnight. At the end of this that we're doing right now, we will be dropping a Gleam link for the giveaway. So make sure you guys are still watching all of that. So yes, let's get back to the conversation. Something else that I really love, especially as the movies went on, was to see Tony interact with, I mean, we got Guardians of the Galaxy. We had Black Panther, and to see him interact with all those other characters was also really cool. Especially him and Peter Quill and Peter Parker in that one scene. Was it for Infinity War?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just to see him kind of react to Peter Quill was funny, because he's an interesting character, and a lot of people are very divided with him and his actions. But to see Peter Parker react to him and to see Tony react to him was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like. Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead.
Well, it's kind of like a sitcom in a way, where it's like you get the joke, but then you also get everyone else reacting to it. So you get like double, triple, quadruple times the joke, which is great.
And my other absolute favorite, and it might be my top favorite interaction, is Tony and Nebula at the beginning of Endgame. Because Nebula is an amazing character that I don't think got enough time. I mean, she developed more through Endgame, but she had somebody being truly kind to her, probably for one of the first times, other than when she and Gamora had finally made up. Somebody just taking their time with her, playing with her, something she'd probably never done in her life. And I hate that you only saw them on the spaceship and that was it. They did not interact anymore throughout Endgame. They spent all that time together and then nothing. Like she didn't. I feel that was a missed opportunity, and I love Nebula so much that, well, I can't wait to see more of her. But it was just another really lovely thing to see.
I was also like thinking back to the first trailers that we got of Endgame. It's pretty much like Tony just looking and like reaching out to Pepper, which we'll get into. We'll have to have a whole discussion about that. Let's just take a deep breath together.
Yeah, deep breath.
Yeah.
And I've seen some comments scroll by. The chat's going really fast in Facebook, so I'm trying to catch what I can. But one of the things I've seen from a few people is, Tony and his car collection. That's something that's I was very sad when the cars blew up and that first iconic silver Audi like went into the ocean. But it was always his thing. It was like the end of every solo movie, he drove off in a different car. And then going back to he and Bruce, it was like they were driving off into the scientific sunset at the end of Avengers.
I love that.
Amazing.
I wish I could be friends with them.
Right. Yeah. Okay, real talk. I know this is a Tony show, but which Avenger would you want to be your best friend?
Aside from
Why?
Tony.
Why?
Aside from Tony, says Missy. No, you can pick Tony. I mean, this is the Iron Man nerd alert.
I mean, it would be Tony, but if I wanted a gal pal, I'd have to hang out with Natasha
Oh yeah.
and have her show me how she does that whole jump on a dude, spin around on their neck, and take them down thing.
Right. Yeah. Like Tony says, I want one.
Yes.
Well, see, and is it from the original 6?
Anybody.
Look, it's an impossible decision to make.
Look, okay, right now, at this moment, not counting Tony, Wanda.
Mine too. Yes.
Oh.
Wanda. Yes.
I love her so much.
Scarlet Witch is my favorite Marvel character.
I've only just started warming up to her, so now I feel like good. I can get some more impressions about her because I disliked her greatly in Ultron. Just because
I wonder
she
why,
messed with
because she was
Tony's
named
head.
Tony.
Right.
You're so predictable.
I
in a
know.
beautiful
No,
way.
it just and it. Oh, that's sweet.
I mean, but you
Well,
also like you can't go wrong with Rocket or Groot.
Yeah.
Like what, you know?
I would totally hang out with Rocket. But I would want him to put a bowl of popcorn on his belly and eat it like the raccoon in the video that turned into like the meme. And I think he would want to take a break and just eat some popcorn. But I just love that he's like kind of, you know, he's not foul-mouthed in the MCU, but I mean, it could go there if you know, if ratings were at it, and it would be hysterical.
I feel like him and Tony would actually really get along if they'd gotten more time together.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, I mean, and you really could go on and on and on about all these different friendships that maybe like we didn't get to see too much of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because then that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But let's just get into it, guys. Let's talk about Tony and Pepper. All right, let's just get into it.
All right.
Oh, my pepperoni.
Oof.
We're ready
I mean,
for
from
it.
the beginning, I felt there was such a great chemistry with the actors as well, like Gwyneth Paltrow and Robert Downey Jr. That if there wasn't that from the get-go, I don't think it would have been as powerful.
It wouldn't
all
have
the way
survived.
up until yeah. I mean, one of the most iconic moments in Endgame is them saying bye to each other. Mostly, her saying bye to him because Peter took forever, but like also I get
that's
Forever.
if I have gripes with things, obviously, but if I had to pick like my one major gripe with that arc of theirs is they were together the longest, literally from movie 1, even when they pulled a Ross and Rachel and went on a break for a hot minute. You know, by the end, I just wanted them both to have one on-screen I love you that was like reciprocated. And since we didn't get to see a wedding, we didn't get to see a baby, we didn't get to see the scene about the goji berries with the alpaca and all of the wonderful deleted things. I just wanted to hear a reciprocated, like, you know, we've been on this crazy MCU train for over a decade, you know, and like a Han Leia moment is all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
But it was great because she gave him as much crap as he gave her. And that's a healthy relationship.
They were sweet together. I like their dynamic a lot, but I'm a sucker for parallelism, and in Endgame when they have that little like nice conversation on the couch where she encourages him, which was also super nice because you saw that throughout the entire series, that like her pushing against his involvement with this and like them finding that middle ground, and when she kind of like she gave in and said, I know you need to do this and I'm going to support you doing this. Like when they brought that line back, I was just sitting there. I was like, I know what she's about to say. I know what she's about to say. And I burst into tears before she even said it because it was such good writing to like to just that like build up right to it. And then oh whoa, that was really well done. So upsetting. Cried so much. Really well done though.
Yeah. They were a saving grace in Iron Man 2 as well. When they have the fight over the HUD at the end of the movie and she's screaming at him, "You're dying," and he's like, "I was going to tell you when. I was going to make you an omelet." Like, it's perfect. And when they went on their little break, and when she had her moment in Iron Man 3 where she was like, well, I'm gonna go sleep on the couch. First of all, that house had so many bedrooms. She didn't need to sleep on the couch. But I was mad about it at first, but then as the years have gone on, I completely understand why they did that. And she was not being any kind of a bad guy or a villain. Some people tried to villainize Pepper at that point, and it doesn't work that way.
No. Well, and like comparing their relationship and to other couples, I have to say, like, theirs is my favorite. Yeah, I mean, I do like Wanda and Vision. Wanda Vision. But I'm so excited. But there's something special. And like you say, they've been together the longest from what we've seen on the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And for us to grow with them in a way was so therapeutic as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone in the chat, like, does anyone want to add on to that part of this Nerd Alert discussion?
Yes, the Chris and Luan Robinson in Facebook says the end where she tells him that they will be okay gives him peace. That broke him. He's a 47-year-old man and cried like a baby.
Aww.
If you didn't cry during that part, do you have a heart?
Yes.
I mean, we need proof like Tony Stark. That's I like. And then Paul Rip in Facebook references the moment from Iron Man 2. Are you out of your mind? I was attacked. That's a great comedy bit.
Larissa in the Facebook chat says she is still mad that Pepper didn't pick up the phone in Avengers when he was flying up into the wormhole. That was like a tense moment, because at that point, I didn't know if the MCU was going to be done, or, you know, those characters are going to be done at the end of that movie or not. So, yeah, that was, oof. They had lots of rough moments.
I also, I think we should dive deep into Tony's friendship, mentorship with Peter Parker.
Oh. There's so much.
And it's like it's a great thing, because like I think as a whole, when we think about that, we think of all the great times. But right now, because I guess I'm still hurting from a year ago, I still feel like really sad about it. And obviously, I mean, we got Spider-Man Far From Home, and to see Peter after Tony, like, I mean, obviously we got in Infinity War, we got a lot of I don't feel so good. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Yeah.
And then him just like not knowing what to do, and seeing all these very strong people, I mean, physically, yes, but also mentally, emotionally, have to figure out how they're going to fix this. And leaving us kind of like, well, I guess we'll have to wait like a long time to see how this all ends. And knowing that like we were going to lose some big players in this. What were some of your favorite moments between those two?
Well, I liked just the part in Homecoming where he goes to open the door for Peter, and Peter thinks it's a hug. And it was like so awkward and adorable. And then that they put really important hugs into the rest in the movies to kind of, so we got that little cheeky bit, and then it was like the building of their relationship in this way that was like Peter got to hug him and stuff after the misunderstanding. I think that's my favorite buildup of that relationship in general. So yeah.
I liked the protector part of the relationship, where Tony made every alteration to Peter's suit that he possibly could from all of the mistakes that both he had been through, Rhodey had been through. I think my favorite thing was the suit heating up, and Peter was kind of like, woo! But it's between that and definitely when Peter's getting all upset in Homecoming, and he's like, well, what do you care? You're not even here. And then Tony steps out of the suit. And it's kind of like the ultimate, and I'm going to use it, the Iron Dad moment, where, the kid's thinking, oh, well, fine, you don't even care about me. You're not here anyway. And then the parent just shows up. Some people love that dynamic. Some people hate it. I'm okay with it, because we didn't have a universe with a third rehashing of Uncle Ben's dead. He got a different parent that sadly they also decided to take away from Peter.
Missy says in Facebook, in Far From Home, I got emotional when Happy was looking at Peter as he was inventing the new spider suit. The Iron Man tech. Yeah.
Yeah.
I ugly cried during Far From Home like 3 different times, and Alan's sitting next to me laughing at me. He's like, he's not even in this movie. I'm like, yes, he is.
But he had a presence in that movie.
He did.
Yeah.
I realized that there's another quote that I use. Well, not so much anymore, but whenever I leave the apartment, I have a cat. He's adorable. His name is Spielberg, like the director. I have to say like the director, because some people, when I would tell them, they'd be like, oh, like the director? Yeah, like the director. I would just kind of, before I left, I just kind of say, all right, well, don't do anything I wouldn't do. Do you guys remember? Yeah. So he says something like, don't do anything I would do, don't do anything I wouldn't do. Something like that. Yeah. So I used that one too. Yeah, also thinking to, there was this other moment that I loved. Him showing up. This was Homecoming. Tony showing up and just kind of like being there for him, but also when Peter gets really not necessarily bratty, but he says, I don't know who I am without this suit. And then he's like, well, that's the problem, basically.
Yeah.
Like that's not how this works. I was like, whoa.
And what I love about that too is Tony's realizing, oh crap, I'm starting to sound like my father, but that's where they're kind of bringing you around to maybe Tony's dad wasn't all that bad. That's a completely separate thing that I'm not even going to get into because no. But it might get ugly. But it just comes down to he really does want to do right by this kid, because we get a kid Peter in this movie. We started with adult Peter, then we got high school Peter, then we got like, I'm going to call him baby Peter, because I mean he's in high school, but he's the youngest iteration of Peter, and to me he's my Peter now because he belongs in the MCU, and I don't want to see 8 different people pulled into the MCU. So
and he works the best with everyone. Obviously with Tony,
dynamic all the way around.
Now
Mona Lisa one on Instagram says that Edith was a great addition, like Tony Stark's last little laugh towards Peter, even dead, I'm the hero.
Yes.
I love the way that they look, like they just feel like Tony. They look like Tony. And to see Peter put them on.
Oh
yeah. Oh my gosh, these comments are going so fast.
I know.
This is great, guys.
I love the love
it is.
for Tony
it's fantastic.
Stark.
Somebody did bring up, and I lost the person, that they did love the giant bunny that was given to Pepper as a gift. The man has all the money in the world. Give the woman some diamonds. What was up with like a giant stuffed rabbit, an Easter rabbit at Christmas?
He's a softie.
He is or get her a real rabbit.
But then she has to feed it, like what if she doesn't want that kind of responsibility?
They have people.
They do.
It'd be fine. And then the poor rabbit blew up anyway. It ended up in the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
See? All right, guys, if you're just tuning in right now, you are watching Nerd Alert. Woo-hoo. I was going to see how long I was going to keep that going, but I had to stop. We pretty much just nerd out about wonderful things that we like to nerd out about. Today, it's Iron Man. We're just talking all kinds of things about what, Missy? Oh my gosh, what?
There's 2 great comments in a row. Melissa says he also got her strawberries, which she's allergic to, and then our moderator Matt adding in that he's clueless. And when it came to starting stuff out with Pepper, he absolutely was beyond clueless, because think about it, she was not a one-night stand by any means. So, and he was like, here, have my company. Also, I'm awkward around you now, like a junior high child. So it was great. All of his like bravado was gone with her.
Yeah. Now I know, Missy, you didn't really want to like deep dive into this, but we're gonna. No, I'm just kidding. We'll just talk about in Endgame there was a lot of ends that were tied, loose ends that were tied. So we got to see Tony with his dad, and obviously his dad not knowing that that was his son, which is, I always love a good time traveling moment where parents meet their children and they don't know, the children know, and they're like, oh my God. Because I feel like deep down, how many of us would love to go hang out with like our teenage versions of our parents, you know? Be like, hey, would we even have been friends in high
Yeah.
school? Or like grandparents and just that kind of idea. So what were y'all's thoughts when that moment happened in Endgame?
I was torn.
Yeah?
Because if you think about it, any time that he spoke about his father in the past, none of it was positive.
No.
Yeah.
Not one single thing was positive, and then they, send him back, and all of a sudden he's like giddy and starstruck, and using Pepper's last name because he couldn't think of anything else on his feet because he kind of went back into like nervous little kid mode. But I don't know, and I know in the comic verse it's spelled out that things were not good. In Iron Man 2, what I get from just like that one little scene is that he really didn't want to be bothered with dealing with Tony. And then when we have the barf scene in Civil War, it's kind of like, the same thing. So that's why I have a problem with that relationship. Everyone who likes it has a really good reason for liking it. But I'm just like, I don't understand why he was so, I don't know.
It was more of his reaction.
At that point, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Jess?
Okay, see, I'm usually on the side of I don't think the relationship between Howard and Tony was that much of a positive one, but a lot of Endgame was wrapping up Tony's story and him coming to terms with everything in his life. Maybe forgiving Howard in the end. He seemed pleased to see him, which anybody who has a troubled relationship with their parents, like you still go back, and Howard obviously wasn't in his life anymore, and that whole part in Civil War, that fraught relationship with Steve and Bucky because of Bucky's actions and Steve's friendship with Bucky, everything about that really like just coalesced in Tony's emotional arc in Endgame. And I think even if I have feelings about how he should feel toward Howard, it was an important moment for him to have, and kind of, and like to be able to say goodbye to his father in a way that he didn't before. There was closure there that he needed, right? For sure. Yeah.
And Matt, once again, he brought up that he did school Tony once more when he was able to make the new element in Iron Man 2, which completely slipped my mind because that is one of my favorite lines when he's just making that awful face and he's going, tastes like metal and coconut. So, and that is something that does come up in weird conversations if we're eating something that we don't like. That's a go-to Tony Stark line. So.
See, Jay West in YouTube says that the Howard and Tony moment in Endgame, it was a beautiful moment when he met his dad, and that scene meant something to me because I lost my dad a month before I watched the movie. So,
wow.
Jay, I'm sorry for your loss, and I'm glad that that moment held a special meaning to you, and that's why these movies are so important to us, because even though they are fiction, they are escapist worlds into superheroes and star-spangled spandex and capes and stuff. They can all mean something and have really important, beautiful, real-life connotations.
Yeah. Well, with that, I want to ask y'all, I mean, obviously, how has Tony changed your life? How has the MCU changed your life? Like, what are some things that you take with you every day that you wouldn't have had it not been for Tony, had it not been for the MCU?
Oof, that's a weighty question.
Right, the MCU means everything.
Everything.
Me,
yeah.
Right? Like my identity is built on being a nerd and comics and things, and MCU is really where that started and kept going for me. I mean, that's like what dominated the silver screen for decades. It was just MCU movies from Iron Man and on. It's been like, when are the new Marvel movies coming out? And even the way that movies are made, with like how tightly spoilers are kept under wraps and scripts, and the way actors like can't talk about it and stuff, that has totally changed the way we view movies and cinema and stuff. Like that's incredible. I can't imagine what my life would be without that.
Yeah, the MCU actually brought about a whole lot of friendships that I don't think I would have any other way, because that's what struck up a conversation randomly. I think like at a Comic-Con or something or along those lines, and now these are people that I can talk to on like a daily basis. Everyone has their MCU moment, and everyone has, what it means to them. For me, it got me through having like a stupid spinal surgery. Like 3 or 4 films were out by that time, so I had, plenty to watch at home because they had already come out on video, and it was one of the best ways to pass time. And it was, even when things are awful, someone's always there working towards a good ending. It might not be the best ending. I don't think every MCU movie has like the best ending it could have. But in every single movie, every single member of, our heroes team, depending on which film we're watching, is doing the best that they can do in the situation that they're given. And I actually changed my outlook on a lot of things in life. Like, I might not be able to control everything, but I'm going to try to find the best part of it that I can.
See, with me, it kind of ties into that. And it's the idea of, with all of these characters, there's some sense of like, uncertainty when they're given certain responsibilities. And you're like, well, I'm not good enough for that. Or can we do this? And I think that the MCU, Tony, and everyone has really taught me to just kind of believe in myself. And I think that that's helpful for everyone to know that, like, hey, you can do this. You might not be able to do it alone. So, have your army with you, but you can do it, and stop being so worried all the time, because it's like you're stronger than you think, both physically, mentally, emotionally, all of those things. And unfortunately, sometimes we're put in situations where it's like, gosh darn it, I wish I could change this, but you can't, right now, our situation in the world is a lot. And, we're taking this time to geek out about a character that we love. And I think that that's what's important, because we have these things that we can turn to. And like you said, Jazz, escapism, which is great. And at the end of the day, we're not alone. We have our Avengers, and that's everyone, all of our friends.
Yes.
We're all like, we have everyone fighting on the front lines. Yeah.
I love that you said we have our friends. Another teacher that I work with, she has her doctorate in chemistry. She is this brilliant older woman, and when she hadn't seen Endgame yet, she like told her students, I don't want to hear about my friends dying. So don't give, and she refers to them as her friends. She said full on, that is her escape at the end of the day. She and her husband can sit down and they can escape into a whole different world where she's not grading papers and she's not worried about, that being the head of the faculty and everything. And so as soon as you said friends, I'm like, people do say that.
Ben James in Facebook says he used to take personal days to see the movie on premiere day so his students wouldn't spoil the film.
No, I love that.
Oh, you have to. Yeah, I would get the earliest tickets I had when I was in school that were available in my town, just so I could walk in the next day, because everybody knew I was going to go see it, and they would immediately start talking to me and giving me spoilers. So if I wasn't ready, I would be completely spoiled.
See, that actually leads me to my next question. What is like the biggest MCU movie moment in theaters that you had where you're like, I will carry this with me forever?
I had never cried at an MCU movie until I saw Black Panther and Eric died. I had literally, I love the MCU. I love those movies, but I always went in and really enjoyed myself. And even if something was sad, I was like, okay, I can take this. Black Panther, Eric's death, I was like, I'm going to carry this with me. I thought that entire movie was just so well done. And then Captain Marvel, the entire thing, the entire movie, Captain Marvel, that also changed me forever, and my view of the MCU and what it means to be a comic book movie fan. Captain Marvel. Yeah.
That's awesome. because I'm the oldest one in here too, which it dates me a little bit, but in May of 2008, when Alan and I were sitting in the theater watching Iron Man, it was the moment that he stepped out of the cave in the Mark I and said, "My turn," and just turned on the flamethrowers, and the specific part of the score that played there and everything, I was just like, I'm done. Like, this is my guy. There was no pretty suit yet. There was nothing, but it was a definitive moment for me. It was a movie changing moment for me. I've been a movie nerd my entire life before it was cool for it to be okay and everything. And I mean, that was it. And we have seen every Marvel movie, except I will say we missed the first Ant-Man in theaters. There was a reason, I don't know what it was, but every Marvel movie we have seen in the theater started with that movie in 2008.
For me to wrap this up, there's something so special about watching Endgame, that it was just the culmination of like a bajillion movies, pretty much. We had friends come into town from Texas so that we could all watch it. It was like this whole thing. Getting tickets to even watch the movie in the first place was a whole nother thing too. We had to go to like multiple theaters in the morning to try and get those tickets as soon as they went out.
With sites crashing and all.
So great. And then to be in the theater when everyone was just like, you could feel that excitement everywhere. And it was the biggest of theaters. It was in Burbank. It's an AMC. And it was just like so great. There was such an energy to it. And then as soon as the movie started, everyone cheered. Oh, I got chills. There's just, like those are the moments where you're like, man, I love this stuff. And I think it's really hard to put into words just like how much this means to all of us.
The stunned silence in Infinity War 2 when he was stabbed, everyone went, and there was nothing.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Cinematography at its finest.
Yes.
Now what's next is something super, super important. We're pretty much at the end of our show. So Jazz, you will be dropping the link. So
yes, I will be.
So this is the Gleam link. The Gleam contest does end tonight at midnight. If you were here halfway through, we gave you a secret code. We're not going to give you that again, surprise. But this is for the Iron Man Mark 43 6-scale figure by Hot Toys. So again, that ends tonight at midnight. So that link will be right there. Thank you again so much for joining us. This was fun. Missy, Jazz,
Woo!
Yes, this was so much fun.
This is my wheelhouse.
I am very excited. I'm just dropping links.
Very important job. Make sure you guys check those out. It's not working?
No, I was telling Jazz, stop working, have fun.
Working, have fun.
Oh my gosh. Guys, I want to thank everyone too for all the comments. They went so fast, we missed a ton.
But thank you everyone who I didn't get to, who said something. I love the movie moments you picked. I love the character moments you picked. All of your opinions are super valid, and I love your love for Iron Man.
And I mean, keep that conversation going as well. Just because we're done here doesn't mean we're not done in the conversation.
Megatron and YouTube, the link's there. It's there. I think you probably commented at the same time it was dropped.
I have dropped the link everywhere. Okay,
everywhere.
It's everywhere. It is in normal Facebook. It is in the Let Your Geek Sideshow group. It is on Instagram. It is on Twitter, and it is on YouTube. All 5.
Well done.
I feel like I should have the pulse. What are they called? There, that one. I'm like, link dropped.
I don't have
it
a
disappears.
repulsor,
it's so powerful.
But I have a light up coaster that we can use.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I
That's
have
so
one too.
great.
Dang it. I love that. So make sure that you head to that Gleam link to enter. Head to side.show/Iron Ultron and use that code for 1,000 entries.
And
again, look at him.
He's so heavy. So heavy. Stepping on Ultron.
It's rock solid. So again, that Gleam contest ends tonight at midnight. We will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. PST live on See It, Win It, where we will be giving away the Mythos Obi-Wan 6th scale by Sideshow. Thank you guys again so much for sticking around. Don't forget to let your geek side show and keep staying inside show.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for being here today.
It was so nice.
That was great. I love Iron Man. Hi. Oh, that one actually makes sense.